Okay, hello and welcome to Sportingways.com. My name's Thomas and Joe Rooney. I'm joined by Joe Rooney once again. With the Premier League season over, what we're going to do this week is we're going to look back at the dramatic final day, just look at sort of the key points from that day. Then we're going to look ahead to the Championship playoff final, the Champions League final, and it's also the Scottish Cup final in Scotland as well. So a few games to look at and look in a bit more detail this time. But we will start by looking back at the final day of the Premier League. It proved that the Premier League is probably the best Premier League, the best league in the world, without any question whatsoever. Manchester City, to begin with, we thought they'd messed up, didn't we?
I mean, yeah, it's just incredible, isn't it? You know, going into injury time, they need 2 goals. Man United have won their game, and it's just, you felt like there was another twist, but I kind of, in a way, I felt like maybe Sunderland could get an equaliser, and Man City would get an equaliser, but 2 goals in that amount of time, and it was just incredible scenes. It was generally one of those moments where you like speak to us afterwards. There was no way to describe it.
As Martin Tyler said, I don't think it's going to be repeated, anything like that ever again. So obviously a team's going to win from late on again, but on the final day to win the title against your rivals is unheard of.
Yeah, definitely. I think had it been the other way around as well, I don't think people would have been quite so.
No, it's just a bit different, wasn't it?
It's just that it was Man City finally getting their almost revenge on Man United, couldn't it?
Okay, and Queen's Park Rangers obviously lost that game, but stayed up because Bolton drew. Bolton must be kicking themselves, because if they'd have done their bit, they'd have stayed in the league, and that's probably the worst way to go down, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think Bolton would have kind of been hoping when they lost their game, or drew their game, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. When that happened, I think they would have been thinking, they wanted QPR to almost hang on to, it was out of our hands. But that late winner for Man City, really, they would be kicking themselves, definitely.
Okay, and then Arsenal and Tottenham got their 3rd and 4th position respectively. Big for Arsenal, because obviously Champions League might mean that Chelsea get the final Champions League position, so Tottenham might not qualify, but Tottenham finished 4th. They'll be happy with that, considering their slight dip they had. Arsenal, West Brom got the 3 points they needed.
Yeah, I mean, Tottenham, it's a fantastic season for them. Top 4 finish is what they'd be aiming for. They've done it, in circumstances now that they may not get in the Champions League, but you can't really dwell on that too much. They finished in the top 4, they've done their bit. And not much has been sort of said about that Arsenal game, but it was actually a fantastic game, wasn't it? 3-2, a really dramatic. A really dramatic game. Again, they did well to hold on to that, definitely.
Okay, so that's a dramatic final day in the Premier League, and one we'll definitely talk about for years to come. Okay, first of all, we're going to look at the Championship playoff final between Blackpool and West Ham. Massive game this weekend, one of the biggest prizes in football at stake for one of these two teams. So West Ham, we'll look at them initially, and they're the favourites without any question whatsoever. They've got a lot of options to choose from in terms of their team, compared to Blackpool. They've scored 8 goals against Blackpool this year as well, so the pressure's on them, but obviously that could then be their undoing in the end, do you think? Yeah,
well, I think West Ham in their semi-final against Cardiff, they look like a bit of a Premier League outfit, to be honest. They look it's a class above. The likes of sort of Green, Noble, Carlton Cole, players like that, Kevin Nolan as well, just really step up to the plate, and this isn't an occasion that's going to overwhelm them as such. And I think, they definitely are the favourites, but they haven't dealt with the favourites tag too well this year, because they should have, probably with the squad they had, won the league. So, and Blackpool are a fantastic side, so it's going to be tough.
I think the things with West Ham, I think if it's Sam Allardyce, he's a manager that won't let them be complacent. If they'd have had someone like, possibly when they had Pardew or people like that, I think maybe they crept in a bit more. That's his persona, but Allardyce will just make sure, and I think because of the way they performed in the semi-finals, that pressure was on big time in those 2 games, and they delivered. So they've just got to repeat that again, haven't they?
Yes, definitely. I think they've just got to go about their business, and no disrespect to Blackpool, but if West Ham are at their best, then I think they'll win the game.
That's what they should focus on,
yeah.
Talking of Blackpool, though, I mean, fantastic achievement to be in the promotion hunt after any team that's got, all 3 relegated teams have done well this year, but Blackpool especially, you kind of thought was that their day in the Premier League, and they look back on that as their one-off season there, but now they're one game of getting back there with, if anything, that's maybe even a weaker squad than before. They haven't got Charlie Adam.
No.
They've brought well with like Kevin Phillips coming in. But Ian Holloway, what a superb job he's done to get them firing in there again.
It has been just incredible. I mean, I'll admit, when they came down, I was looking at them that season, I looked at other sides around, and I thought, I didn't really give them too much chance. I was expecting a sort of mid-table finish.
Up until a month or so ago, really.
Exactly. And I think they're now 9 games unbeaten, so they're in a great run of form. And, they have been actually quite solid at the back in their last 2 games as well, which people haven't quite given them credit for. But, I mean, they're fantastic going forward. And, I mean, they'd be welcome in the Premier League again, because they really set it alight. Fantastic.
Okay, so we'll go for a prediction on this. It's the Championship playoff final between West Ham and Blackpool. Obviously said West Ham are the favourites, and I actually think they will end up having too much for Blackpool. I think Blackpool will give it a really good go. I think they might even sort of go ahead or something. So I think West Ham could be nervous, but in the end I think, like I say, the players they've got, the know-how they've got, Allardyce in charge, I think West Ham will come through and win this game 3-1.
Yeah, I think I just fancy Blackpool. I don't know why. I think something's with them in the game. That they did it at Wembley 2 years ago. They've got know-how. You know, Ian Holloway knows what it takes to win. They're staying in the same hotel. They've got the same changing room. So yeah, I'm going for Blackpool and I'm going 2-1.
Okay, next up we've got a big one. It's Champions League final, Chelsea versus Bayern Munich at the Munich Stadium. Obviously, Chelsea, we'll talk about them to begin with because they're the Premier League hopefuls. Obviously, they didn't make the Champions League in the Premier League, sort of the top four, but if they win this one, they qualify for next year's competition and they're sort of flying the flag for English football in this one. It's obviously 4 years on from their heartache when they lost on penalties to Manchester United. And sort of on that day, John Terry was the man that sort of missed the crucial penalty, but he misses out. How big a deal do you think that is? And obviously Cahill and Lewis should be fit, but the key players they've got missing was obviously going to play a big part.
Yeah, I think it is massive for them. I think Terry especially being out, you know, Cahill and Louise, they're good players, but they haven't played much together at all, you know, and they're quite inexperienced as well. And, you know, the likes of, I think, Ramirez and Morelos.
Ivanovic is out as well.
I think they've been fantastic for them, especially Ramirez. I think he was brilliant in that game against Barcelona, fantastic goal. And they're going to miss him, but Chelsea have always had strong squads. They've got players to come in, but yeah, they're going to
when you have to bring in the likes of Essien and that's not too bad either.
I think Essien almost coming back to fitness at this time is just colossal for Chelsea. I think he is one of their best midfield players on his day. If he's fully fit, then he could be a big part.
And if you remember when Manchester United beat Bayern Munich in the sort of famous final, I think Scholes and Keane missed that one. So you know, sometimes they might bring them together and then do it.
Definitely, yeah. Maybe sort of the underdog tag, you know, can always help you in the final. We know that.
Okay, and Bayern Munich, obviously they're playing at their home ground, obviously, which will be an advantage because they're familiar surroundings. They haven't got a trap or anything like that. In terms of their season, they've lost out in the league. They lost out to Borussia Dortmund. In the cup final most recently, they lost 5-2 to Borussia Dortmund. So their confidence is going to be a little bit shot. They're going to think, if we don't win this, it's the trophy of the season. So in front of them, in their home stadium, against the Chelsea side without some players, you know, this is a game that they're under pressure to win, definitely. Yeah,
I mean, they've hit a poor run of form at the wrong time. You know, there's no good time to hit this kind of form. And absolutely thrashed by Borussia Dortmund and in the league as well. You know, they lost that quite comfortably in the end to Dortmund. So they're really, you know, they're not in the greatest of form, and they could struggle here. And there's big pressure on them, especially being at home. Obviously, they're not going to have the same amount of fans.
No, but it's an advantage, definitely.
Yeah, definitely, of course. And obviously, the area is going to be full of Bayern Munich fans beforehand. So yeah, it's going to be a tough game.
The classic phrase, though, isn't it? Never write off the Germans, because you just can't. And you wonder whether sort of the tighter the game is, and the longer it goes, the better chance it gets the Bayern Munich win, and the sort of typical English heartache in this sort of game.
Yeah, they've got that know-how, haven't they? Just that gem way. They did it against Real Madrid, didn't they? They were 2-0 down. You almost righted them off. I think after about 15 minutes, they were 2-0 down. They got a goal back, and when it went to penalties, there was only one winner, wasn't there? Really, you know.
Okay, yep. So we'll go for a prediction on this one. Obviously, it really could go either way. It should be a very tight final between two teams. You wouldn't say they're the best two teams in Europe right now, but they're the teams that have got there, and it could be very tight indeed. For Chelsea, I think the biggest worry is that they kind of achieved their biggest thing by knocking out Barcelona. They need to put that to one side. And if they do that, I think they're just going to come through. I think there's something written about Chelsea doing it this year. I really do. I think it's going to take extra time, but I think Chelsea are going to win 2-1.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tight game, but a good game. I think it's going to be 2-2 after extra time, and then
all the way.
Yeah, and then unfortunately, I think Bayern are going to do it on penalties again.
Okay, the final game to look at is the Scottish Cup final between Hibs and Hearts. Obviously a massive derby up in Scotland, and it's quite refreshing in a way to see that Rangers and Celtic aren't competing. Obviously, Rangers Celtic final will be fantastic, but this could be a competitive final. Talk about Hibs to begin with. They finished 11th in the SPL, so they're very much not in great form this season, so the cup run's very admirable. They also beat Dunfermline 4-0 on the penultimate game of the season to secure their SPL status, so that's still fresh in the minds. So they might take that momentum, do you think, and go into this game, think if we're staying in the league, we could win the cup, that'll be a good season.
Yeah, I mean, momentum is a big thing for cup finals, I think, no doubt about it. You know, you go into form, you keep that going, but obviously they have had a very, very poor season. This will almost sort of make up for their poor league position. A win over their local rivals in a cup final, and then who cares where they finish in the league? I think they're fought, and it would be it's a big day for them. They could do it.
Okay, they've actually won 2 of their last 3 as well. So as you mentioned, momentum there is there, and if that's against the Hearts side, they probably are stronger, or definitely are stronger. They need any advantage they can get, and if the back of this is 3 or 4 defeats, you'd wonder, but they've got something about them at the moment. And about Hearts, obviously they finished a lot higher in the SPL, they finished 5th. They're definitely the favourites in this one. Do you think that'll be a sort of extra pressure, similar to West Ham in the Championship playoff final, and for Bayern Munich in the Champions League final? Hearts are the team with the pressure, and it's about how they deal with that.
Well, yeah, of course, you know, with their good form and their good league position comes the pressure of being the favourites, but they will know they perform well on the day and just do what they've been doing all season, then they'll win the game. They're no doubt the better side out of the two, but it's just coping with that favourites tag and playing well. That's all they need to do.
Because Notty beat Celtic in the semi-finals as well. Kind of a dramatic game, and they kind of need to draw on that experience. And similar to Chelsea, not sort of think that beating beating Barcelona is the end all. They've got to think that beating Celtic isn't the end all. You know, this is a massive game, and obviously in the end, Hearts are favourites, and prediction-wise, I think they will come through. I think they've got too many match winners for Hibs. I think the likes of sort of Rudy Scatchall will come in, and he's a fantastic player on his day, and could win the final on his own, I think, in the end. So, in the end, I think it's going to be a relatively comfortable Hearts win. I'm going for 3-1 to Hearts.
Yeah, I think Hearts, with that win over Celtic, they're going to have so much confidence going into this, and I feel like their name's almost on the cup in a way.
Yeah.
And yeah, they are a lot better side than Hibs on their day, so I think Hearts are going to win 4-0, actually.